And we are live. Welcome to the Deconstructing Data podcast and live stream. I'm Jessie Lezak, fractional CMO at BDEX, along with BDEX's founder and CEO, David Finkelstein. What's new this week, David?
Hey, Jesse. All good. All good this week. Team got out some new updates to our identity API. So we launched that this week. So that's always fun. Yeah, all good. Keeping busy as always.
Love that. Well, we've got another great week of Deconstructing Data planned. We're thrilled to welcome on Tom Shoemaker. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Hey, good to be here. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, David.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, we're glad you were able to join us today. And we'd love for you to kick it off for us, give our listeners and viewers a chance to get to know you a little bit.
Sure.
So tell us your story, what led you to become the Vice President of Product Marketing at Propel, and a little bit about what Propel is doing for its customers.
Absolutely. I love that thumping intro music, by the way. That's just killer. Sets the stage.
Cool.
So, I'll give you a quick 15 seconds on my background first, and that'll lead into kind of how I found myself here at Propel and then what we do. So educational backgrounds in mechanical engineering, finished schooling in 1900 something, and then tried to figure out what I wanted to do, which was really like design roller coasters. I thought that would be really cool. People weren't really hiring for that at the time. Found my way into a high-tech company, did a stint there, and then found my way into software not too long after that. And that's where I spent the majority of my time working in a product marketing or a solution marketing leadership role, which I find very interesting. It puts you right at the nexus of the technology that you're providing and then the market that you're providing it to. And I found myself at Propel about 5.5 years ago now, because they were solving a lingering problem in our space and doing it in a very new, novel way. And what we do, what Propel does, is we help companies, manufacturing companies, right? So if you make a physical product, there's a good chance that we can help you. And we help you make that product better, faster, of higher quality, in compliance, so that it can succeed, not just being a great technical product, but a product that succeeds and wins in the marketplace. And that's what we do, and we get to help a lot of companies meet that challenge head on.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm interested in diving into that, but first I got to mention, your interest in designing roller coasters. Just so happens the school I went to, Rochester Institute of Technology, actually has a program for that. And so every year they showcase the designs, the roller coaster designs that students make, and it's kind of pretty cool.
That's really cool. I went to Rensselaer. I went to RPI.
Oh yeah, cool.
Who's often confused with, oh, that's Rochester? No, it's same state, but no, different school.
Yeah,
I wish we had a program like that.
Yeah, that's funny. I visited RPI on my sort of path to looking at schools and got laughed at when it came to admissions. So I ended up at RIT.
Great school though. Great
school. Yeah, RPI is a great school as well. So so I'm really interested in jumping into these categories of this discussion, because the first one, product commercialization, success, and accurate data matters. So I'd love to sort of dive into this, because we're talking about helping companies improve improve their development of products, and I'm really interested in seeing how you apply data into that process. So
sure,
love to hear your thoughts and what you have to share on this topic.
Yeah, I would start off with something like a lot of products don't succeed in the market, and it's not due to the engineering that went into them. It's often due to the disconnected handoff between engineering and, let's say, marketing or sales, right? So commercializing that product. A bit of the old adage, right? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, you can make the world's technically best product, but if you're not translating that to the way that your marketers have to market it, and the way your sellers have to think about it, and the way they sell it, and bring it out through the different channels that you support, it's not going to be successful. And it's going to be a major gap. So a lot of our focus at Propel is bridging that gap. We call it the product value gap between what the product camp does in one half of the organization. And I would say the product camp is made up of R&D folks, engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, quality people, regulatory people, supply chain, production, and those that are more customer facing, marketing, product marketing, commerce to some degree, sales, and service. Those that are kind of front and center in terms of the customer. And we've done a lot of our own primary research, and really we had this hypothesis that each of those camps might do their own thing somewhat well, and there are always chances to improve in each area, but the bridging between the two is absolutely ripe for improvement. And we've validated that with the research that we've done, and we've set about to build solutions that tee up and improve and strengthen that connection, which we really call the product thread that can loop together those different groups. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. And if you think about why it really matters, your engineers are not selling your products. They're not the ones marketing your products, but they have to get the technical definition right, so it's meeting the requirements, and that it complies with regulations and material compliance regulations and REACH and RoHS, and it works, and it's going to be safe, and all those things that they have to do. But there is a whole other set of criteria that are equally important. How is that product represented with assets and hero images and the attributes that you use to describe the product, and the messaging that you put around the product that are super relevant for the marketing folks and the sales folks? And what about how you service that product? All of that is absolutely relevant for the service organizations. And in many of the organizations that we sell, a lot of money is made after the product ships. It's made with service contracts, because a product, like a big piece of medical equipment or industrial equipment, might live at the customer site for 10, 15, 20 years. And there are opportunities to make a lot of money over that lifetime. But if you're not sharing that product information with those commercial teams effectively, if they can't find spare part information, for example, then you have a big missed opportunity. You have a big missed revenue opportunity, and you can create some brand damage and customer dissatisfaction.
Yeah, such a good point. I think that problem exists in so many industries. I mean, it exists in my industry. I mean, I've experienced it. You can build this incredible product, but your technical people are the one building it, right? And so they're not the ones to define how. They often don't even understand how the customer is using it. And so you need to be able to bridge that gap. You need somebody to sit in between that truly understands how the customer thinks, how the customer uses the product, and is able to then communicate those, the value and the features, in a way that, the customer will understand, and the way that drives the customer to be a buyer,
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is definitely a big challenge, for sure. It's not something that, and I'd say oftentimes it's not something that one side or the other side can do. Like, you do need sort of this someone in the middle that understands both the technical and the marketing and customer use side, because the person doing the sales, doing the marketing doesn't always understand all of those sort of technical features that are built into it. So you kind of do need somebody in the middle to help with that.
Exactly right. Right. There's so many pieces of information that exist in each camp, right? So that if the other side knew about it, they could do things better, right? If sellers understood where the demand is, right, and that information were relayed more readily out to the product folks, well, that might affect design decisions that are made. That might affect sourcing and purchasing decisions. If these folks knew what the anticipated demand was and in which regions that demand was present, you might decide to build things differently. You might decide to source things differently. You might be able to make better sourcing and purchasing decisions to lower your collective cost of goods. And you might decide to locate manufacturing in different places to be closer, more proximal to where the demand is and where the product's going to be consumed and sold and installed and serviced and all those other things. So there no shortage of different ways where if the one hand knew what the other hand was doing in both directions, life could get better for these discrete manufacturing companies.
Sure. Yeah. So talk to me about, so in this topic, product commercialization success, you talk about, it says accurate data matters. So let's talk about what data someone needs to be looking at in order to sort of create the full circle and make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to, let's just look at each camp for a second. If we look at engineers, they are typically in the language of the systems that we see in this space, things like product lifecycle management, which is a big software category, or quality management system, which is another big software category. They typically think in terms of things like parts, manufacturers, bills of material, change, and quality events. On the other side, right, the commercial side, those people that are more directly touching the customer, they typically think of products that are bringing to market, or maybe more succinctly SKUs, stock keeping units. What are the orderable, the things that I sell? Accessories, bundles, product packages. And then they'll think about, things like assets. If I'm a service professional, I don't go service a product, really. I service a customer asset, something that lives at the customer site. So number one, they speak different language, different nomenclature, different lingo, things that they care about. But these things are all related because they're all different facets of that product thread, right? So having the ability to link up and contextualize the same fundamental information about the product, but to do it in a different lens that matters for the roles that are involved in making a product successful. And there are many. We've just boiled it down to two fundamental ones, like engineering, who's designing what the product's going to look like, and then, sales, who's the one that's going to sell it. But if you're successful at bringing products to market and having them win in the market, you have to engage all these other groups: quality and purchasing and production and service and everything else. So the contextualization of that data and the linkage of that data as it changes, and it invariably always changes. When engineers are first dreaming up a product, they go through infinite cycles to come up with new ideas before they ever have a prototype that's good enough for anyone outside the rest of the organization to look at. And then they'll typically start to ramp up production and do a couple of test runs before they then figure out, I can release this to production and make lots of them to meet the market need. Meanwhile, they're then off thinking about the next generation of the product. And how do I take additional cost out of it? Or how do I make it perform better? So all of these things are going on in lots of different cycles. But the key thing is to take the data that matters most for the people, all the product stakeholders that sit around that product table, and provide the right context to them for the job that they're doing, and keep it synchronized so that if engineering decides to then make a change and swap out a motor with a higher performing motor, marketing needs to know about that. Why? Because that's maybe a better selling point. And they can start to promote that out to the marketplace. Conversely, if they don't know about that, it's a missed opportunity in promoting and putting the product in the best possible light for your potential customers.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially the continued life cycle of the product, for sure.
Absolutely.
We got a few comments on it. One is, how does one go about understanding the demand and needs of a market that's in a region that's on the other side of the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great question. And there are a variety of different tools that can do this. In the case of Propel, I mean, just so happens that our solution is built on a technology stack that is pretty well known for its CRM capabilities, its Salesforce. And by virtue of that, we have a level of breadth and interconnectedness to areas of selling forecast that other providers wouldn't have. But even if you're not on that platform, right, having an ability to link up what your sellers are experiencing in the world, and providing that information back to your engineering team in a way that gives them some better insight. Those are all potential wins. And maybe you don't always have like the smooth, elegant integration process that we're able to, depending on the technology platform that you choose. But those are all things that can help you make more informed design decisions, because design shouldn't be just about I'm going to make the most elegant engineering solution. It should be about I'm going to make the solution that is best for the success of our company. And invariably, that's going to be driven by what is the profit contribution that it's going to deliver to me? How is it going to make customers happy and locked into our products so that they stay with us for a long, long, long time and keep buying things well into the future?
Yeah, definitely. Well, shall we segue into our second topic, which is enterprise collaboration through product data? What do you think? Can you kick us off there?
Sure. Yeah, it's a little bit of some of the things that we're just talking about. When what I had said earlier, the reason that I kind of found myself at Propel is that they were solving what were some traditional problems in the manufacturing space in a new, novel way. And what I mean by that is a lot of the legacy and traditional players think about this tool set through the eyes of the engineering team and the quality team. And when you think about it that way, you're almost inherently kind of locked into, oh, this is like a cost reduction. I'm always going to try to be squeezing cost out of my product, which is important, but it's not really a sufficient view. If your objective really is one of growth, if your objective really is one of winning new customers, keeping them happy, and enabling other sales channels, and enabling your sellers to be able to cross-sell and upsell. So the the way that we think about this enterprise collaboration around the product is that engineering and quality have always had a seat at that table. In fact, they were the first ones at that table. But the people that sort of been kind of sitting at the kids' table, let's say, were the sellers and the product marketers and the service people. And they typically haven't been able to access that product information because the tool set didn't enable them to a large degree. And a lot of those organizations also thought about things very departmentally oriented. You know, engineering is about solving their problem. Quality is about solving their problem. Service is about solving their problem. Sales and marketing are about solving their problems. When in reality, if you're in the business like our customers are of having discrete manufactured physical goods that succeed in the marketplace, all of those stakeholders need to be represented at the table. They all have a voice because they all contribute to the success, or conversely, by their lack of involvement, could detract and hinder the success of the product. So what we do is we enable the contextualization of product information. We don't show the marketing or the salesperson all of the gory detail, the bills of material, the manufacturer parts, and all this heavy duty stuff, the technical specs that the engineers deal with. But we show them what the end SKU is, the thing that the market is going to buy and that is going to order from the company. And that's how your company is going to make money. Meanwhile, marketing is somewhere in the middle. They need to see some of the nitty gritty stuff that engineers are creating, but they need to transform that technical definition of the product into a marketing definition. They need to be able to align with what the buyers are looking for. They need to build in search engine terms or generative engine terms, because people are increasingly, using LLMs to search for products. So they need to translate that technical view and representation of the product to one that is, how do I ready this for my channels? Whether I only have one, like an internal sales force, or I also have distributors, or I also sell through e-commerce channels. Each one of those channels might have different needs of information that they have to consume, but invariably it's all different, yet linked to that technical definition. So to us, the way we think about it is provide the right view into the information and the ability for all these people to contribute around the product table, if you will.
Would you say AI today is playing a big role in this? I mean, it seems like an opportunity to train AI on all the product data, on all the sales data, on all the marketing data.
Absolutely.
And use that to collaborate.
Absolutely. And as you could imagine, it's a big area of investment for us. It's a big area. All of our customers are looking at AI and what to do with it and how to get going and how to get started. And it can help in any number of ways, right? It can help the engineers process changes faster. It can help quality people look for patterns, quality events that recur to figure out what the root cause is to prevent future reoccurrence of those. It can help sellers look at your price book, your portfolio, and determine, if I'm selling this to that customer, perhaps there's opportunity to sell some add-ons or brand extensions or accessories. It can help service people who don't necessarily know how the product was developed or designed, but they can interrogate product documentation, service manuals, installation procedures to understand and how to do their job better when they're on site trying to fix a product that is either broken down, or do preventive maintenance so the product never breaks down, it stays up and running, and the customer stays happy and satisfied. So absolutely, AI can have a huge role in the success of product companies.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, AI is just improving a lot of things out there.
Yeah, no doubt.
I made a comment earlier. This is why marketing has to sit at the table early. We're not decorating the SKU. We're shaping how the market understands it. And then we got another good question. How do you find the middle ground between the technical view from the engineers and the channel's perception of the product?
That's an interesting one. The middle ground between the technical view and how the channel's perception of the product. Well, I think the channel's perception of the product is informed by a lot of things, right? It's informed by the product marketing that you do. It's informed by the channels in which you sell. So probably there's a lot of brand building and activities there that you can conduct. There can be a lot of research that you can conduct. Like we ourselves do a lot of primary research in order to, well, one, understand what our customers need and want and all that, but also to understand the broader market trends going on so that we can take that and, one, inform how we develop products, what kind of products we develop, but also, two, come up with compelling marketing content and positioning and material out to the world. How do you link that up with the technical definition is part and parcel of what our capability is. So what makes us special and unique? Lots of things. One is the platform on which we're built, super powerful and super configurable, but it also gives us that breadth to be able to have something to offer for the engineers as well as the marketers and the sellers by transforming that technical view into the marketing view, which other vendors will do pieces of these things, but not necessarily link all of them together with one data model on one platform, one consistent user experience.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, any more on that topic before we get into bridging the product data gap, design to marketing?
I think I mean, I'll just give you some examples here, and I don't know, maybe it fits in the next category or the previous one, but so we've been around 11 years now and have been building up a very loyal customer base. And as we've evolved that product, we've been able to stay kind of a step ahead of the needs of our customers. So as we're evolving and offering new capabilities out there, they're able to see it, take advantage of it as they grow and are able to take on more things. And one customer, one of our very earliest customers, based in Germany, they're in let's say industrial equipment. They make a lot of subsystems that are used in optical and thermal use cases. They started off life primarily as a distributor, then sort of evolved into a value-added reseller where they would buy components, do a lot of their own engineering, package that up and sell those to an engineer-to-order company where there is no stock product, but the customer says, I need a robotic laser system that does this, and they can go ahead and configure that out of the parts that they need and do some of their own engineering on top of that. Our sort of first big win with that customer was just on getting that engineering process established and working very well. And they were able to get this improve their engineering productivity by 500%. That is 500%. So whereas they could do one project before, they could do 6 projects today. So getting that handle on engineering throughput was kind of the first win for them. Then, as they started to want to get more successful in distribution, they still had now this big disconnect of, okay, we've got these products, we're able to pump these things out more readily, and we have a storefront, we've got a digital storefront, but we don't link up the two things. We export all of this goodness to a spreadsheet, then it becomes a dumb static spreadsheet that we then take from that and populate that into our e-commerce world. Well, that was a big opportunity for improvement. It would take them weeks and weeks to commercialize a new product, to get one of their new products ready to be sold through the e-commerce channel. And with these capabilities I was talking about, this product thread extending from engineering to marketing and sales, they're able to do that now in minutes, what used to take them days and weeks. So, just to bring to life a few examples here of the benefit.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah,
I bet for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show, and I think that's, sticking to the topic, like you need to find ways to sort of bridge that gap between the product design and marketing. And that's, that's been sort of our conversation from the beginning, stressing the importance of being able to do that. And it's no easy task for sure.
Right.
And I mean, that sort of gets into bridging the product data gap, design to marketing.
Yeah.
Is there anything more on that topic that either of you want to add?
Yeah, I'll give you another customer example, and there's really a pretty compelling proof point as part of this. Company is called Savant Systems, and they make equipment, automation, smart home products in the high-tech space. Things for controlling your entertainment system, controlling your blinds, power usage, and things like that. And they've, been a long-time customer of ours. And for a company like this, one of their part of their business model is growth through acquisition. And when you grow through acquisition, there's always an integration piece, like integrating not just the company and all the organizational challenges that you have to do with that, but what about their product portfolio, right? And this company bought GE Lighting, which is a brand name that everyone's heard about, 100-plus-year-old company, and they acquired the assets of GE Lighting, and they've acquired some other companies along the way. And one of them was in the kind of window dressing and automated blind system, and because they had so finely tuned this engineering to marketing and sales connection, they were able to, the same day that acquisition closed, be able to have those products ready and available for distribution on their e-commerce channel. Like, kind of unheard of to be able to do that. And obviously, what's the goodness from that? Well, you don't miss a beat in selling, right? You're able to present these things as part of a unified whole, a unified product portfolio. You're able to get out there to market faster. Maybe it can command a price premium for some things. And the other thing that they've done is they've been able to equip their sellers, and it's a vast distributor network, but they've been able to link up which products distributors are able to sell by virtue of them having gone through the requisite training and enablement needed to be able to position and sell those products properly. So that's another aspect of what is possible if you're able to kind of link up the product and the commercial worlds.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, the integration of, making an acquisition and then integrating the business and to the point of being able to, get everybody up to speed and start selling, the products and services of the company that was acquired is usually a multi-month process, right? Not
right.
Something that happens instantly. So that's pretty impressive for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I like this question from the comments. Why sometimes we have a solid product, but it fails and vice versa? Oh man, if there was just that one issue.
I know.
Like,
I mean, is going back in time, but remember the beta versus VHS kind of discussion, right? None of that stuff's used anymore, but back then there was a war between what was the right format.
Yeah.
We know what won, VHS, but like by all accounts, beta was probably the higher quality product, the more successful technical product. Film,
DVDs and Blu-ray, right?
DVDs and Blu-ray. Kodak didn't have the best film for people that shot on film, but they had the best positioning and branding and everything else. So all of that stuff matters. So it's not, I think about it a little bit as like a triathlete or a decathlete. Maybe you could be good in one event. You could win that one event and be mediocre or bad in the other events. And that's not going to serve you well. But you could be second or third good in a lot of events, and that could win you the greatest athlete in the world, right? So if you're able to string together the things that matter, that is some special sauce, and that is an advantage. And that is kind of what we strive to do here with our technology.
Awesome. Well, love that. Yeah. In closing, Tom, what was
that? Last topic.
Oh, well, of course. How could I forget? Tech stack. Before in closing and before getting your contact information, what are some of your favorite tools in your tech stack?
So we use a tool called Cassidy. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's kind of an all-in-one AI platform. It provides availability to all of the LLMs. It provides the ability for people to self-serve and create their own agents. They call them assistants. It's got workflow capabilities. You can string together multiple agents. And we use this in a variety of forms, like a lot of us in marketing, in RevOps, in corporate marketing, demand gen. You can train it, of course, on your own information. So things that we're looking at, we train it on our product documentation, train it on release notes. And then you have a very easy way to just engage with the product. Oh, when did we release this? Or I forgot. Do we do this capability? And invaluable for people in marketing to author, relevant product content, for sellers, sales tools, content that goes out to customers, that goes out to, blog posts, speaker notes for slide decks, all sorts of things like that. So Cassidy right at the top. We use a bunch of other tools like in the world that we're in, where you're kind of in the middle between the technology and the sellers that sell it, looking at tools like Gong, conversation intelligence platform, super valuable to understand what's being used, how the work that you put out there is translated into real conversations, super important. Another technology that we rely on a lot is called Seismic, for taking and distributing that content out through our website, out through direct seller engagement with prospects, and then looking at how it's being consumed, what people are spending time on, what part of the movie and video are they watching, what slides are they tuned into and are resonating. So all of that are great signals that feed back into how we position, how we market, how we think about revising our products as well.
So cool.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I hadn't heard of Cassidy. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, great product.
Looks really cool. They don't have their pricing listed, so you got to do a little digging, I guess, talk to their sales team. I was looking them up. I put the link in the chat here in LinkedIn if anyone else was curious, but yeah, it looks very cool. But this was a really great discussion. Now, would you like to share any of your contact information so anyone listening could reach out to you afterwards?
Sure. Tom Shoemaker, or more fully, Thomas J. Shoemaker on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest, best way to find me and engage with me. And then if you're curious about Propel, you want to learn more about that, I would say go to our website, propelsoftware.com.
Nice.
Awesome, Tom. This has been a great conversation. I appreciate you joining us on the show today.
Of course. Thank you very much.
I think our viewers and listeners got some great information that you shared. And so thank you for that.
All right. Thank you both.
Absolutely. And I'll go ahead and close this out with an outro video, but thanks a lot again, Tom, and see everyone next week.
So audience members, we want to invite you to get powered by BDEX. Build authentic connections with your audience and drive unprecedented engagement. So just imagine harnessing the power of AI to craft your audiences that truly resonate with your brand, ensuring that your marketing is hitting the mark every time. We want to bring you closer to those marketing goals, and we're eager to guide you. So just visit bdex.com. You can click on the Talk to an Expert button and get powered by BDEX.
Deconstructing Data is the show that makes data make sense. Every Thursday, David Finkelstein and myself, Jessie Lezak, sit down with industry experts to unpack how data really drives marketing. We do this in plain language anyone can understand. If you want real insights, real conversations, and zero jargon, tune into Deconstructing Data live on LinkedIn every Thursday at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Yo.